Hey, what's going on guys, it's CalebBakes01. Now if you're familiar with my channel, you guys would know that this isn't usually the type of content that I like to make here. However, today's topic I just feel like is an issue I'm seeing more and more often as I'm getting older. Just every time I go to the cinemas, it's something that I'm just finding an issue with more often than not. So it's just a message that I feel like I want to get off my chest and sort of vent about today. Though I don't think this message will make it to the target audience that needs to have this message imprinted in their head. However, you guys who are watching, maybe you can relate to it in some way, or if you have any stories that relate to this topic, feel free to let me know in the comments below. And, you know, to be completely honest, I could just be a bit of a sook about it. I could just be overthinking it, maybe being a bit of a fun police. Feel free to call me out in the comments if you disagree on anything. I'm happy to say that, but I really feel like I'm not. I just feel like this issue, as I said, is just getting too ridiculous at this point, so I just feel like I had to make a video about it. So today's topic that I want to talk about is my growing problem with cinema goers. Now, there are a few things that I want to address before I go into my list of problems I'm finding to be more and more common with cinema goers, and the first thing is the type of people that I'm mostly having this problem with. Now, I just want to quickly explain, I'm not calling out everybody, I'm not calling out every cinema goer. I'm not saying that the only good time in a cinema is when I'm in there by myself. However, there is a specific group of people that I'm mostly having this problem with. I'd say they're causing about 85% of the problems in my area or my local cinemas, and that is, for a lack of a better term, these teenage, teeny bopper, cool kid wannabes. Here in Australia we call them eshays and lads. I'll put pictures of that up on the screen if you don't know what they are. I'd say the age range is from about 12 to 18. These kids just didn't grow up with any discipline. They think their shit don't smell, they think they're better than everybody else. And as I said, they're causing most of the problem. I did say 85% because honestly there are adults and other types of people that do occasionally ruin the cinema experience for me as well, but I would definitely say about 85% of the problem is from this group of people. As I said, an age bracket from about 12 to 18. They just think they're top shit, their shit don't stink, they think they're the fucking bee's knees, but honestly they are a pain in the ass at the moment. I feel like I should also quickly explain before going forward how I normally deal with these types of cinema goers. I am going to out myself. I am the type of person who will call somebody out if they're being over the top. I know not everyone is a fan of doing that. I also am aware not everyone is a fan of people who do that, like myself. However, it's different for different scenarios. If someone's being not too bad and there are a couple of seats in front or behind, I'll just lean over and whisper, hey, maybe just tone it down a bit. People are trying to enjoy this movie. But if someone's being like really over the top, super obnoxious, super annoying, and maybe they're far on one side or way at the front or way at the back, I don't always stand up, but sometimes I do, but I'll shout out and just call them out for whatever they're doing. Sometimes I shout some shit I probably shouldn't, and it's not an attempt to be tough or start any beef, but as I said, a lot of the time in my situation, as I said, about 85% of the time, it's this little teenage teeny bopper. And as I said, they don't get any discipline, they think they can go wherever they want and do whatever they want, so all it takes is somebody calling them out for their shit, and they get put in their place. They go, oh shit, I probably shouldn't do that, and they stop. I also want to quickly explain also, I don't just call out people who are younger than me because, you know, it's easier. I'll call out whoever's doing it, but as I said, most of the time it is people in that little age bracket and in this specific group. I also am going to out myself. Sometimes I am a Karen, and it gets to the point where people don't listen to me because shouting out doesn't always work, but they are just too much and there's nothing I can do, so I will go down to the front desk and sometimes they come in and deal with it for me. Another thing to address is that I'm happy to be lenient with a handful of the problems I'm going to bring up later in the video to a certain extent, depending on the style of movie or cinema experience, because sometimes cinemas have like throwback nights and they play a fan favourite film that everyone knows. Just the other day I was at the drive-ins and they played Trick or Treat, so obviously everyone, well, most people would have seen that movie, and a fan favourite character comes on screen, people will cheer, a cool kill happens, people will cheer. And it's not just for throwback films, you know, sometimes a new horror movie will come out, obviously people are gonna scream, and I'm just saying horror stuff because this is a horror channel, but comedies, people are gonna laugh, make jokes. I have to be lenient to some extent with some of the problems I have, so I am aware that not everything is black and white. It depends on the situation. Now, the last thing that I want to address before going into my list of problems that I'm having with cinema goers is a lot of the points that I'm going to make sort of overlap with each other and bleed in together, and that's purely because a lot of the issues are just sort of domino effects that lead to other ones. So if there are similarities between my picks, I will just try and explain them the best I can. Also, I am aware a lot of my problems are going to sound nitpicky, and feel free to call me out in the comments if you just disagree, but they are nitpicky because the issues get to me at a certain extent, and I'll try to explain that the best I can. But without delaying any longer, let's just get into my list of problems that I'm having with cinema goers. So starting off my list, relatively simple. If you want to socialise and chat with friends, don't come to the movies. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with you bringing friends to the cinema, that's okay, just as long as you guys are aware that other people are in there who are focused on the movie, and you guys are happy to just chill for the hour and a half or whatever the runtime is, that's fine. But if you guys want to talk, go to lunch. I mean, there's 100 other fucking things to be doing other than being in that cinema. Because I don't need you guys sitting there talking about fucking X, Y, and Z for whatever the runtime is. It's really annoying, and this sort of bleeds into my second one. Don't come to the movies just purely for background noise. How often do you see people come in, and as soon as the lights go off and the movie starts playing, they just start talking amongst themselves, they're on their phones. The movie is just purely there for background noise. And that's what's super annoying. When you have it there for background noise, anything could really be playing. So if you want a movie on for background noise, watch something at home. Don't come into the cinema where whatever else you're doing is going to be distracting for other people. It's just really super fucking annoying. So my next point again is a relatively simple one, and it's an issue that everyone would have had at some point when going to the movies. But again, it just sort of plays into the certain extent that it goes to, and that is talking / shouting. Honestly, I think everyone's just sort of forgotten how to whisper. Whispering is just the way to go. I'm perfectly okay when you whisper to someone because, as it happens to be, sometimes when you're watching a movie, you need to talk to somebody, you lean over and whisper, that's good. But it's just becoming more and more common that people are talking to each other, and at the same volume that I'm talking to you guys now, and they could just be sitting next to each other. You can just whisper, or even if they're like 3 seats across, you lean over and whisper. That's the way to do it. But to make it even worse, another thing that's just becoming more and more common is people shouting, and it could be to someone, on the other side of the aisle, or a few seats forward. It's just really fucking annoying. One of my most recent visits to the cinema, this was maybe a month ago, 2 girls came in. They obviously went to school together. They must have bumped into each other in the lobby, realised they were going to watch the same film, but decided not to sit together. No word of a lie, one literally sat in the far front corner, one sat in the far back corner. They were with 2 different groups. And about 4 or 5 times through the movie, one of them would shout out, "Oh, you said this movie wasn't going to be that scary. This movie's so scary." Or, "Oh, I saw this part on TikTok. Close your eyes, it's going to be scary." Shouting out to each other about what they're going to be doing at school the next day. What the fuck? Isn't that just the most annoying thing? It's just, whispering is simple, or if you're going to sit far apart, just don't talk at all. Okay, so I'm going to try and punch out these next 2 together because they sort of play into the talking / shouting point that I just made, but my first one is commentary. I don't need a running commentary on my film, thank you very much. I'm watching the exact same thing you are, so I don't need a word-for-word description of what's going on, "Oh, why did he walk into that room when it's so dark? Wouldn't you bring a torch? I don't know why he went in there." We're all thinking that. I don't need to hear you say it. Or, "This movie's so confusing. What's going on? I actually don't understand what's happening." Keep your thoughts to yourself because I don't need to be debriefed on what I'm seeing on screen, thank you very much. The next one is comedians. I paid my ticket to watch the movie, not hear your fucking 1.5 hour comedy special, thank you very much. Someone bends over, they make a fart noise. Their little clique of friends thinks it's hilarious. No, we're just trying to watch this movie. Or, something happens and they yell out a meme. It's just fucking annoying. I'm not here to hear your jokes. They're fucking shit, okay, first of all. And yeah, it's just really annoying. Don't do that. Okay, so my next point is going to sound a little bit nitpicky at first, but please hear me out. Excessive food noise. Now, I understand that there's going to be food noises when I'm watching a movie, people crunching their popcorn, opening chip packets. When drinks get low, it's going to start to slip. I understand that all comes with the cinema experience. But it could just be my personal experiences that I've had recently. But it's getting to a point where I'm like, if you're going to eat this much food, or more so be this loud with your food, go somewhere else and go get lunch. Just don't bring it in here, because it's come to a point where people are literally bringing in 4 bags of fast food, you know. Oh, here's a large fries, here's a burger. No, don't fucking do that. And it's gotten to the point, this is no word of a lie, me and my girlfriend both experienced this. She would have stood up for me if she was here, but she's not. There was a time where 2 girls, they got up out of their seats, ran up the stairs out the cinema, because they ordered a pizza to the theatre and came back down the stairs with their 2 large pizzas, stacked it open, and you just get to a point where you go, this is just fucking ridiculous. So, excessive food noise. Okay, so my next point, again, another very common one that a lot of people would have had to put up with at some point, phones. It literally says before each and every movie, please put your phone on silent or turn it off. But again, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of people just come into the movies and the movie is just purely background noise so they can be on their phone. There's people that watch videos. There's people that feel like they need to put the flashlight on their phone every fucking 2 seconds. There's people answering calls. There are people recording the screen because they want to put a scary jump scare or a funny part in the movie up on social media. There's people taking photos. It's getting to a point where it's like too fucking much. Like, I find it so easy to not look at my phone for the hour and a half. It really isn't that long. I just don't understand. But as I said, people just needing to, as I said, record the screen or put their flashlight on every 2 seconds. It's just becoming too much. So yeah, that's my next point. So going into a point I vaguely brought up a little bit before, but going into it with more detail now, coming in and out of the theatre. Now I understand at certain points you will need to leave the cinema, you know, in case of an emergency. Maybe you need to take a call. Maybe you go, should have ordered that bucket of popcorn, so you run out. You need to go toilet. There's many reasons why you can leave that are valid. But at my local theatre, people are treating the fucking runway and stairs like it is a treadmill. Honestly, they're coming up and down constantly. Of course, they have their fucking lights on, and they need to look in people's faces for some reason. The light of the lobby, when the doors open, constantly coming over my shoulder. Again, it's just people that go, oh, I have nothing better to do today. I'm going to go to the movies. They're about half an hour in and go, actually, there's other stuff I could be doing. And, you know, they're running out to see a friend or running out to get food when they already have food. Like, it's just becoming too much. And again, it's something that is really starting to get to me more and more. So getting to my last point now, I had a little list written here, and I'm sure there are so many things that I've forgotten, but for now it is the last on my list, and again could be seen as one that is a little bit nitpicky, but babysitting. I mean, if you know that your kid isn't going to be able to sit still for the runtime of a movie, or just doesn't want to be there in the first place, don't bring them to the cinema. I mean, I understand to a certain extent, if you're taking them to a movie that is purposely targeted towards them, you know, a kid's film, and you want them to just sit still for the hour and a half so you can have your bit of quiet, that's fine, I understand. But don't bring them into a movie that is targeted for adults. And what I mean by that is, I don't even care if it's like a scary movie and it's like they're way too young to be watching it. That doesn't bother me, honestly. I couldn't give 2 shits. But because you're interested in a movie doesn't mean that the kid is going to be interested, because that many times I've been sitting there enjoying the movie and I just see this little kid run across in front of me, or run around behind me, run up and down the stairs, playing his iPad, swinging the lobby door, back and forth. You know, it's that fucking annoying. And I put this one down for babysitting because it's almost like they're the babysitters and they're like, listen, I didn't really want to be watching you, so you're coming to the movies with me. That's what it really feels like. And again, could be a little bit nitpicky, but it comes down to, again, just things being at a certain extent. So wrapping up my list is babysitting. So there we go, guys. There is my list of problems that I'm finding to be more and more often with cinema goers. I feel like it just wasn't always like this either. You know, when I was younger and I went to the cinemas with my parents, it was just simple. They told me, sit there, be quiet, which wasn't an issue because that's just my nature anyway when I'm watching a movie. But yeah, these issues are just becoming more and more common, and I just felt like I had to get them off my chest. I just want to explain, you know, it's not problems with the cinemas in particular. You know, it could just be my area. I mean, I like my town and where I live, but it could just be the area. Again, I just want to explain this isn't targeted to everyone. As I said at the start, it seems to just be mostly this certain group of people, but yeah, just I feel like cinema goers are just getting more and more annoying and out of hand, and again, I could just be a sook about it. Tell me if I'm overreacting, feel free to call me out in the comments, but if you have anything relatable, feel free to leave your stories below. I'm actually going to get into a story now, which actually was the reason why I put this list together. So all these problems just started to escalate over time. It wasn't a specific situation that made me want to put this list and video together. However, the straw that broke the camel's back is when I went to watch Smile. Smile was a movie that I didn't expect much from. I was like, yeah, it's going to occupy my time for a little bit. And it actually surprised me with how good it was. I actually really did enjoy this movie. For the lack of my better judgment, I try to go on the weekdays during school times, but that's mostly when I'm working. So I went on a Saturday right at lunchtime, and all these little school teenage kids came in, and that was the experience where I said the girls were shouting from corner to corner of the cinema. People were running up and down the stairs like it was nobody's business. And as I said at the start, I am perfectly comfortable with calling people out. I did that, and I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be perfectly honest here. I heard a lot of and then people just kept going. It doesn't always work. I'm not an intimidating guy, I don't think. You know, most of the time it does work, but this just wasn't the case. I purely think it was numbers, because it was literally me, maybe 3 other adults who were quiet, and then I would say about 20 school kids. So I mean, it didn't work that time, but yeah, it was just sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. Tons of people recording the screen as well. That was a big problem with my experience watching Smile, and again, I probably could have liked the movie more if it wasn't for the experience. But yeah, that's just my little story for why I wanted to put this list together, or more so the straw that broke the camel's back to make me do this video. But again, as I said, guys, let me know if you've had any experiences like this. You know, I'm sure there are a lot of things that people have had in common. Maybe my cinema is just out of control. Let me know. But thank you for joining me again, guys. Let me know if you actually liked this kind of content. I don't think I'm going to be doing it very often. As I said, I just wanted to get something off my chest. But it was something different, and I enjoyed recording it because it was a very venting experience. So thank you for joining me again, guys. If you're new to my channel, feel free to subscribe if you like horror content. I often do reviews, top 10s, all that sort of stuff. But thank you for joining me again, guys, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.